Hello, and welcome back to this Library of Ruina series. Today, I'll be talking about deck building concepts in the second chapter of the game, Urban Myth. Compared to the last video, this one's going to be shorter, with a bit more emphasis on why the good cards are good rather than simply what they are. First off, let's talk about the reception right after Hook Office, Pierre's Bistro. This reception gives you a lot of good value and counter cards. Because of this, most of the bomb cards encountered become very hard to justify using, as they'll frequently get outrolled or neutralized by set value encounter cards. Additionally, overpower becomes a lot worse after this reception, as it gets countered by a block on one or simply getting outrolled, as its second die is very weak. Cooking Prep is a very strong 1-cost value card, as its dice rolls can contend with many 2 costs at this point in the game and beats overpower quite handily. Finally, one thing to consider is whether Ingredient Hunt or I Can Cook Anything is better to run in your decks. Ingredient Hunt has half a power more on the first die in a binding effect, but I Can Cook Anything has half a power more on the second die in a healing effect. In the end, it's debatable which is better, and also not very relevant as they both get outclassed fairly quickly, but it's good to start thinking about these sorts of things, as many cards in later chapters will be very similar to one another. Next, let's talk about the Streetlight Office. Beating this reception gives you access to the first page that has 2 speed die. Currently, there isn't any page draw and very little light regeneration, so you can't utilize your doubled actions as effectively as you will be able to later, but it still spikes your damage and clashing potential in the first few scenes quite substantially. It just so happens that the strongest cards right now are all 1 and 2 cost, so if you jam your speed deck with those, you can really pack a punch. Finally, the 3-cost card you get has bad clashing on 1, so it's relegated to free hitting almost exclusively. After the second reception of the Streetlight Office, you get one of the best defensive cards, and the only one that I would say is useful in all decks at this stage, Taste My Flaming Bat. It counters a lot of cards and has good damage for a defensive 1-cost, as the evade die effect stacks onto the blunt die. Additionally, Setfire is a strong value card in this chapter, as 6 burn will do way more than 6 flat damage, so the trade-off is well worth it, along with the high die rolls of course. If you kill Lulu first, you might get a card called Strong Strike if you get her generic book. It has very strong clashing, so if you get a copy, it might be worth it to use it. But I did the reception a bunch and didn't get a copy, so I wouldn't sweat if you don't get one. One little interesting tidbit is that you get 2 copies of Prepared Mind. One for Mars, and one for Lulu. Both have different art and dice rolls, which I think is kind of cute. Generally, at the end of the chapter, you're going to want your clashing pages to have average rolls of around 4, a defensive on 1 counter page, and a value or bomb page with a strong 1 and 2. Taste My Flaming Bat overperforms a lot, so I think it's worth running 2 or 3 on your librarians. In the next video, we'll take on the next chapter, which introduces deck archetypes. I'll see you soon, and as always, thank you for watching.